Hey guys, this is MHA Universal, and welcome back to What If Deku Had an Adaptation Quirk. So, what's gonna happen in this version is, well, not this version, but what's going to happen because two of you actually decided to comment and say which ship you wanted. I'm going to do a Deku Momo ship. So, with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Where we left off, Mineta was Mineta had just failed the test from Aizawa. So as the results get shown, he decides, and no one he says, and no one's going home. That was just a logical deception to get you to do your best. Most of them sighed in relief, except for one. Momo Yaoyorozu was had said, well, it was pretty obvious that he wasn't going to expel any of us, so I probably should have told you that, huh? And they were like, yes, yes, you should have. As, as the day goes on, since Deku had discovered full cowl in this version, and also not broken any of his bones, he would very quickly figure out that he would very quickly figure out that his power wasn't all that it seemed to be, especially due to his adaptation quirk. It would it would really it was really strange how the two melded together, he thought. So Deku goes back to his classroom and the day proceeds as normal. So De- Deku then, as he is walking out, run hears a voice saying, "Wait up, Deku, wait up!" And he's like, "Huh?" As he hears, as he looks behind him to see Ochako Uraraka. So, with so when he so then he stops and waits for her to catch up. She says, "Deku, what? Are you heading to the station? Can I come with you?" And Deku says, "Can you please stop calling me that? Deku is just a name that Kachan uses to make fun of me." Then not Katsuki Bakugo, then Tenya Ida runs runs up behind them and says, "Well, that isn't very sportsmanlike of him. He should really try strive to be more like you, Izuku Midoriya, because you show the signs of a true hero, especially since you figured out the secret behind the entrance exam." And then Izuku says, "Well, didn't actually figure anything out. I just did what I thought was right." "I see. In any case, we should all strive to be more like you, since you scored highest the in the entrance exam." He's as Izuku Midoriya hears this, he begins to get a little bit. No, he's not as shy as he was in the original. So he just kind of says thank you as as they walk to the station. During the next day, they during the next day, we see everyone arrive in class 1A, only to have All Might show up late later and say, "I am entering through the door like a normal person." And Deku Deku in this is still a fanboy, so but is not as surprised when he sees All Might due to the fact that he heard it directly from him that he'd be teaching at UA. So he just kind of puts on an act and says, "All Might's teaching here." And everyone begins to cheer, and then All Might says, "Calm down, calm down. Here here today we will be going out for combat training. But first, we need to but first you should have the proper equipment to use as heroes." And he clicks a button, and as he does, the walls next to Kaminari and Tokoyami begin to shift outward and reveal the cases full of hero costumes. In this one, Deku actually got a hero costume made for him, not by his mom, but by the by the support companies. So, as they as they exit the as they exit the changing room, Deku is, instead of wearing his normal green jumpsuit, he will actually be wearing something similar to Kirishima's costume, except his won't be based off of Red Riot and will actually be based off of All Might. So his will be a sleeveless a sleeveless version of All Might's costume. As as this happens, All Might says, "Okay, yeah, sorry." Um, All Might says, "Okay, now we will be choosing teams. Everyone, pick from this case." As he says this, Tenya Ida says, "Doesn't that seem a little bit too random? Shouldn't we be shouldn't we be choosing who we face off against, or not who we face off against, who we team up with?" And Deku said Deku says, or as one of you commented, to just call him Darwin, which I think will actually be his hero name, Darwin. As as he says this, um, Deku will Deku will say, well, we don't all, as pro heroes, we can't always expect to be able to choose who we team up with, especially in a crisis situation. And he says, I see. So, now this makes more sense, Tenya Ida says. So, then Deku will be teamed up with Momo Yaoyorozu this time, and I'm sorry for Uraraka because she will be teamed up with Mineta. So Mineta says, "Gosh darn it, Midoriya, why do you get all the hot chicks?" And then Midoriya, overhearing this, just kind of gives Mineta a concerned look. As this happen, as he looks away, he says, "Oh." Then All Might says, "All right, now we will be choosing teams. Now we will be choosing hero and villain teams. The first two to team up, the first two to face off against each other, will be these guys, these two teams." As he lifts up Team A and Team D. Team A being Izuku Midoriya and Momo Yaoyorozu, and Team D being Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida. As as this rev, as this processes through Midoriya's head, he begins to kind of shudder at the thought of actually fighting Katsuki Bakugo full force, because he knows how powerful Bakugo's quirk is. Alright. The villain team will enter the building and will be given 5 minutes to plant the bomb and plan for the invasion of the hero team. Whereas the hero team will get 5 minutes to plan for what their strategy should be. As he does this, the vil- the villain team enters the building, Katsuki glaring at Izuku Midoriya, and Izuku giving a sort of nervous glare back. As they are planning, Katsuki Bakugo says, "So, so what do you wish? I'm gonna go after Midoriya, so you protect the bomb, or I'm gonna go after Deku. You stay and protect the bomb." Knowing that nerd, he's just gonna find a way to get up here as fast as possible. Especially with that new way he's using his quirk. I didn't know he could power up his physical abilities using it. Damn it. Why is he always so much further ahead? As he says this, he said, uh, All Might says, "All right, time for the team battles to start. Go!" Midoriya and Momo enter the building, having planned out their strategy. Momo Yaoyorozu is going to be the one to go after the bomb, while Izuku Midoriya will be the distraction for Bakugo, especially since Bakugo is most likely going to go after him. And I'm sorry if there are any inconsistencies with the previous parts, but I really don't write scripts, so I'm just going purely based off of memory. Uh, as this as they enter the building, they hear explosions coming down from the third floor. Then Deku's like, "Okay, you stay you go ahead. You go left, I'll go right. I'll make I'll make I'll be the distraction for Bakugo." As they reach the second floor, there's an explosion that blows up in Midoriya's face. Barely being able to activate his quirk, he he hardens his skin, and then Kirishima's like, "Hey, that's like my quirk. How did he get my quirk?" All Might says, "Well, young Midoriya's young Kirishima. Young Midoriya's quirk is adaptation. It allows him to adapt to his environments, especially especially with in close combat situations. The longer he's used so- the longer he's been around something, the more likely he is to become immune to it." Then Ejiro Kirishima says, "I get it now. So he really is just using a different quirk that has similar capabilities as mine." As he says this, Deku unhardens his skin and uses all one for all. I about said all for one there. Um, as he does, his skin hardens to the point of Kirishima's unbreakable mode in the fourth season of My Hero Academia. Except he has except his is just skin level, whereas Kirishima's hardening his entire body, including his bones and flesh. So as this happens, Kirish, not Kirishima, Bakugo says, "Damn it, you've gotten so far ahead of me. How did you do that in such a short amount of time?" Bak, Deku then says, "It's simple. Training. I trained my quirk from something that used to be useless all the way to something powerful. So let let's let's go at it." And then they begin their fight. On Momo Yayorozu's end, she begins she reaches the fifth floor and hears Tenya Ida for practicing his villain laugh, which makes her crack a smile, but she doesn't lose her composure, and then reaches the room. She then runs forward and rushes all the way. She then rushes forward and tries to touch the bomb while Ida is distracted. Ida, hearing the door slam open, quickly moves the bomb out of the way. He then says, I knew you would come for me while Bakugo was distracting Midoriya. Now, I will be your true test. To get past me is the hardest thing possible." As he says this, he gets a giant metal pole arm into the face and is almost knocked unconscious. After doing this, Momo runs to the bomb and touches it. And here everyone hears, "The hero team wins," with 5 minutes remaining on the clock out of the 15 they were given. So, after that battle, all of them go exactly the same, except for Monetta's team. Monetta's team loses in this version, whereas their quirks are completely incompatible and are blocking and are actually not able to get along very well. So Monetta's team loses. I'm gonna leave it off there. Next up will be the USJ arc. So I hope you're having an amazing day, and if you guys aren't, I hope this made you feel better. So, if if it would please you, please hit that like button and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.